Anken Ma'at, Anken Ma'at. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Ankh and Ma'at. I'm so pleased to be here with you. Come on in, come on in. I'm looking forward to our discussion today. Hoping that you are also. Anken Ma'at, Anken Ma'at. Looking forward to our discussion. I'm so glad that you are here with us for Kemetic Ascension. Actually could be a little bit clearer. Give me one moment. Setting things up, a few things up here. I'm not in my regular space, as you can tell. Creating a new space here that hopefully will work. Anken Ma'at, Anken Ma'at. Please let me go ahead and greet you all to Kemetic Ascension. And as you know, when we begin, we ask that you go ahead and tell us a little bit about you. I'm hoping that you'll tell us about how long you have been partaking in Kemetic Ascension and where in the world you are. Anken Ma'at, Anken Ma'at. I believe that Sen Nahisi, one of our full members, Anken Ma'at to you. I'm also, and I believe he's in Florida. He's coming out of Florida, he and his queen. Anken Ma'at, who is also a full member. I'm sure she's not far behind. I got a text from you, although I didn't get a chance to read it. Anken Ma'at, Anken Ma'at. Anken Ma'at to Kevin Simmons. Welcome back, welcome back. Anken Ma'at to Societe Commentare. Anken Ma'at. I'm even noticing, I didn't notice this before. Anken Ma'at. Yes, and I see, Senatan, you are checking in from St. Louis. Let us know how things are going there. Perhaps you want to come on and talk to us about what you all are doing and how it's going. Anken Ma'at to, I believe that is a Butza shot under there as the Shrine of Sekhmet on a train from Paris to Nice. That sounds amazing. Anken Ma'at to you. Anken Ma'at to Adam I Am 720. That's our dear brother Sen Curtis coming in. Anken Ma'at to you. Send Jason Anken Ma'at there in St. Louis, Missouri for the second Semshu Heru annual reunion. I am so pleased that you all are all together. Anken Ma'at, Anken Ma'at. One of you should come on and tell us how it's going. Anken Ma'at to you all. Anken Ma'at to Blissfully Evolving. Anken Ma'at. That is our... Now, who is that? I know who that is. I recognize the handle, but I'm not remembering which one of our full members has that handle. Forgive me, I've been up most of the evening. Anken Ma'at, Anken. You know what? That's Sanette Cheryl. That's who that is. Anken Ma'at. Took me a minute to remember. Anken Ma'at to Sanette Cheryl, one of our full members who is in the DMV area. Anken Ma'at. Anken Ma'at to, and I see that Abutsa Shot is enjoying herself. I'd love to know more about what that trip is like. Anken Ma'at. Anken Ma'at to Art Taken for Granted. I don't think that's a name I'm familiar with, although you may have obviously come into Kemetic Ascension before. Anken Ma'at. You know, I'm just noticing, and I usually don't notice this, that the comments from Instagram don't come into my StreamYard. I don't usually have the Instagram page up. Anken Ma'at to you, all of you, on Instagram. I see one of the members of Temple of Anu, FSSTJ, is on. Ankh Ma'at to all of you over on Instagram. Ankh Ma'at to you as well. I usually I believe that all of the comments should be coming into StreamYard. I apologize if I've neglected you all who are making comments over there. Ankh Ma'at to Shane the Watcher 616 coming to us from California. Ankh Ma'at to you. I wonder if you're watching Ironheart. Ankh Ma'at to Miss Mena coming to us from Mississippi. Oh, that's Sanette Ida Kadia too. Sacred Woman, how are you? It's good to know that you are out there and the sacred women are still doing what they do. Ankh Ma'at to Sorry Nobody. Sorry Nobody? That's an interesting name. Ankh Ma'at to you. Ankh Ma'at to Truth Seeking Lou. I see that Jason says you will come on and lead the opening of the way. That would be amazing. Ankh Ma'at. Oh, and I see Shane the Watcher asked if I watched Ironheart. Yes, I did, and I enjoyed it, although I know there's some controversy around it. Controversy simply because this is a story that is surrounding a person of African descent and a woman, which makes things really unfortunate. Listen, that's the reality that of the United States, that racism and issues around race and gender are part and parcel of the fabric of this nation. And so we should not be surprised, although I've come to say now I am shocked, but not surprised. That's just the reality of things. Ankh Ma'at to Juti Imin Jed Kara. Ankh Ma'at to you. Ankh Ma'at. Listening for 4 years from the Lou. Ankh Ma'at. Are you with our group of folks that are in our reunion? Ankh Ma'at also. I think you're in there as well. Sen Curtis. Share the StreamYard so you can join. Oh, yes, I haven't shared it yet. Yes. I'm wondering why I'm not seeing anyone come on. Listen, I'm out of sorts because I'm not in my regular space. This is a new space I'm creating. And so I did not notice that I hadn't shared the StreamYard. Dwa to Senaton. Yes, and I know that's you, Sinette Cheryl. Ankh Ma'at from Chicago. Ankh Ma'at. You met me in Phoenix a couple of years ago. Wonderful. Ankh Ma'at. I'm glad that you are there. Tell us who you are, because I may. Are you with Professor Gershom right now, or you met me with Professor Gershom? Ankh Ma'at to you, either way. Ankh Ma'at to Paulie. Ankh Ma'at. What's on Ironheart? Ironheart is actually a Marvel series that is on Disney Plus, and it features a Black character prominently. She's the main character. By the way, someone who I've met. I don't know if I'd say I know her very well, but she is a Black Cornellian. So, Black, there's not that many of us, so we kind of know each other. So I support what she does, and I hope that things go well. Ankh Ma'at to Jay Howard. Ankh Ma'at. You have a question about our ancestors. How do they help us? That is a challenging question. And the only way that I would answer that is by saying our ancestors assist us in the same way that we know our ancestors have described their assistance. In virtually any tomb that of someone who made their transition, who could afford it, you would have an area where the deceased would be able to join the living and return to the afterlife. And clearly we know that as we look at the Reyu Pertem Heru, you can't see the books really from that angle. Boy. You would actually be able to see that our ancestors always believed that they would be able to assist us. And perhaps if we have some time, I'll read a passage from the Pertem Heru, a prayer that asks that the deceased will be able to go from the afterlife and return. It is of critical importance to recognize that that is our tradition and has been for thousands of years. And so definitely we do as our ancestors have told us to do. We do, we assist in the continuing lives of our ancestors. You've heard me say perhaps that which we feed is that which lives. It is of critical importance for us to remember that our ancestors will be with us if we are with them. Anken Ma'at to Ron Green, Anken Ma'at, watching from Alton, Illinois. Anken Ma'at to our full member, Rich Douglin. Anken Ma'at to coming to us from Queens. By the way, Rich, I'm in Queens right now too, at my mom's place. Anken Ma'at to Angenican Mallow. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Anken Ma'at, I know you're in Florida. Anken Ma'at to Magical Magician in Birmingham. I love that. Where's Lady Ma'at Jabari? Ma'at is not on camera, but I'm going to tell you, Ma'at is all over the room, because the energy of Ma'at is so important. And certainly Ma'at is the order of the universe that pervades all things, that allows us to draw breath, that gives us the very standard of the physical and non-physical world. So Ma'at is everywhere. Anken Ma'at to Sinetisha. That's Cortisha. How are you? How are you? Coming to us from ATL. Roosevelt, met the professor and brother William. You signed a book for me. I'm a playwright. I think I remember you, and I have a picture of us all. I think I can even see your face. I hope that's you, Anken Ma'at. Skeeta Bite coming from Virginia Beach, Anken Ma'at. That must be a nice place to be right now. Give you book recommendations. I would suggest that if you're talking about the ancestors, you should get the Hosea from that is a book that is curated sections of the ancient text, curated by the elder Malana Karenga, the creator of Kwanzaa. Anken Ma'at to Alsato, watching from Lagos, Nigeria. You are the furthest away from us. Yes, we are closer, Sen Rich, as yes, we are. Been a while since you saw Sister Nika. Please, I will definitely send her your love as well. She's no longer a part of the shrine, but she is still a priestess doing the work as well. So I will definitely send her your myrrh when I see her. Anken Ma'at to Angenican Malo, you're over there with San Angenican is over there. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Anken Ma'at to Nesu West in Miami. Anken Ma'at to Ursa Ma'at from Chi-Town. Anken Ma'at. That's you. Greetings, my brother. Yes, I remember you. Anken Ma'at, Anken Ma'at. So, Anken Ma'at to you all, those of you who I mentioned and those of you who I have not. I know that I am sending so much myrrh to our Shemsu Heru members who are gathering. I'm also sending traveling mercies. That's how they'd say it in the church. I am sending the Netedru to assist the journey for Bootsashad. I know that she's traveling far from home. And so please, I'm sending the Netedru as much as I can to assist you on your journey. Anken Ma'at to send William Humphrey to Hootie forever. Anken Ma'at coming to us from that city that we call Bennu, that the rest of the world probably calls Phoenix. Anken Ma'at to Russell G. Lewis. Well, with that, I want to go and I think I see Kwame Ron there. Anken Ma'at to you. His camera is off, but it's good to see you. One of the folks who was brought into the chieftaincy in Ghana with me. Anken Ma'at to you, dear brother. We need to catch up. I also see Sen Jason Holmes, who is coming to us from St. Louis.
Somebody said Anika. Hey,
Uncle
did you say something
to
about Anika?
you.
I'm getting my odd. I'm getting my odd. We
Trying to
gotta.
make you larger. That's not working.
Oh,
I made
okay.
myself larger. That's not what I'm trying to do. There we go. That's a little better. Uncle Ma'at to you.
I'm getting my odd. I'm getting my odd. We actually, as a group, we want to actually lead the opening of the way. So we're in a restaurant right now. So we're gonna step outside and we'll lead the opening of the way for you.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I would. Oh, that is.
All right.
That is certainly nefer.
I think there's a bit of a delay. So we got Sin Nelson here with us. So give us a second while we step outside. Uh-oh, he just froze up on us too.
Absolutely. You're not that loud.
You kind of froze up there for a second, Jabari. I didn't hear you. I lost him. He froze up on us. Well, he's still on here, but he froze. Oh. Right here, that's construction. Yeah. This is good right here. Yeah, this is great right here. I think St. Nelson is
I'm here and I'm seeing you clearly. I think I did freeze for a second. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Wonderful.
As you can see, there's quite a few of us.
Where's St. Nelson? Okay, my heart.
Uncle Ma'at to you all. Looking splendiferous. Look at this. Wow.
So you got the truck. Yeah, we got tripod. Oh, let us grab the tripod real quick. We got a tripod.
Yes,
so
absolutely. Get comfortable.
So you can see everyone.
Beautiful.
We've got
Listen.
We've got Sinette Royale.
Uncle Ma'at.
We've got Sin Farouk.
Uncle Ma'at.
We've got Sin Angenicon.
Uncle Ma'at.
Sinette Daria.
Uncle Ma'at.
Sinaton.
Uncle Ma'at.
And of course, Sin Curtis.
Uncle Ma'at.
And then we've got Sin Rich.
Wow, Uncle Ma'at.
And we've also got Sin Nelson and his wife Rachel.
Uncle Ma'at. It is wonderful to see that you all have gathered for your second anniversary.
Yeah.
Your second gathering. It's more than
anniversary gathering, either
that's
one.
Right. That's right. It's your annual gathering.
Shim Haru 22. What she said.
So I'm gonna hand it over to Sin Nelson. He's gonna put the camera on the tripod, and I guess you can just let us know when you're ready.
Listen, I'm ready when you're ready.
Okay.
And now, first, before you say anything, can I say how beautiful they look? Look at how nefer
I couldn't hear you.
What'd you say? I said it's so nefer that gathering to see you all.
Oh yeah.
That's the highest it goes.
So before you go into the opening of the way, tell us about what you've been doing this weekend, what your gathering has been like.
What? Well, cameraman. We've done some amazing things. We've done a lot of eating, but we took a dinner cruise last night on the Mississippi River, which was great. We actually went up in the arch, in the Gateway Arch. Look on the Shrine page, you'll see all the pictures.
Yes.
Hopefully what we did, go ahead, St. Curtis. I'm sorry.
No. We did perform libation, and we performed a recommitment of our Heb Keperu Were Oath and commitment to the Shrine of Ma'at. We did a we version of all of that.
Instead of an I version. Libation. That's right. Yes. Wonderful. Wow.
Yeah, it's been an amazing weekend so far. It's been really amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
what's the weather like out there? How y'all handling the weather?
Is it want to lead? If not, I will.
Okay.
Don't want me to do it? Okay. 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 So we'll go ahead and do the opening of the way because we got to get to our food.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, said Jason.
It's a party. Don't forget when we get together, we like to party as well. So we have to get back to that.
Okay.
Come over sometime.
Y'all looking amazing in your orange too. Look at all that orange.
Oh, yeah.
They walked in the restaurant. They said, "Who are they?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Is everybody there?
Are you all ready? Okay. All right. We'll start with our divine word of life, Ankh. Netrok in bed heads.
A Netrok in bed head.
Nuke in bed heads.
Nuke in bed head.
Netrok happy.
A Netrok copy.
Nuke happy.
Nuke copy.
Wau and Tur.
Swallow and Tur.
A Netrok circuit.
A Netrok circuit.
Nuke circuit.
Nuke circuit.
A Netrok Kepsanuk.
A Netrok Kepsanuk.
Nuke Kepsanuk.
Nuke Kepsanuk.
Wau and Tur.
Swallow and Tur.
A Netrok Ox.
A Netrok Ost.
Nuke Ox.
Nuke Ost.
A Netrok Amset.
A Netrok Onset.
Amset.
Nuke Onset.
Wau and Tur.
Swallow and Tur.
Netrok Meat.
Netrok meat.
Nuke Meat.
Nuke meat.
A Netrok Duamutef.
A Netrok Wamutef.
Nuke Duamutef.
Nuke Dwamutef.
Wau and Tur.
Swallow and Tur.
A Netrok Newt.
A Netrok Newt.
Nuke Newt.
Nuke Newt.
A Netrok Geb.
A Netrok Gab.
Nuke Geb.
Nuke Gab.
Wau and Tur.
Swallow and Tur.
A Netrok Shoe.
A Netrok Shoe.
Shoe.
Shoe. Shoe.
Nuke Shoe.
Nuke Shoe.
A Netrok Tefnut.
A Netrok Tefnut.
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 Nuke
Nuke
Tefnut.
Tefnut.
Wau and Tur. Netrok Paut in Teru.
Netrok Potion.
Nuke Imbu in Teru.
Nuke and Blue.
Oh, sorry, I messed up. A Netrok Imbu in Teru.
Netrok and Blue and Tidderu.
Nuke Imbu in Teru.
Nuke and Blue and Tidderu.
Wau and Tur.
Swallow and Tur.
Wau and Tur.
Swallow and Tur. Dwa, dwa, dwa.
All right. Yeah.
Can I say to you, it has been some time since I have been with all of you together doing the opening of the way. And I'm going to say it's been a challenging time. Those of you who are Shrine members know that I'm dealing with it. But I'm going to say to you, you know how healing it is to see you all?
Yes.
You know how healing it is even for me to just see you on StreamYard and feel your energy?
I say.
And I say, dwa, dwa, dwa. I murr you all. I murr you all. And also, dua, I know you all are humble, but dua to all of you who came and also those who organized. And I know that the folks that organize it had to be, I know it's the sisters, right? I know that Sinette Daria and Sinette Rael must have done a lot of work. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
know that Sen Jason coming from the area also assisted. All of you who did all of the work to make that gathering possible, can I say the largest Dwan Tur to you all? It is amazing to see you all. Oh boy. Almost got me in tears. It is amazing. Dwa, dwa, dwa.
Can I say one thing? I want to
Please
say,
go ahead, Senaton.
I just want to say again, I want to thank these sisters for putting this together
Yes,
for us.
yes.
And in this class, right, I want us to continue to do this, right? Because one of the things that this allowed us to do was not only to get together, the fellowship, and to see each other and to feel the love from each other, but it allowed us to continue in our Kepera process for us to get together and have some of the conversations about some of the things that we've been experiencing since our initiation, and continuing our next levels of study together. When we were told that these were going to be lifelong bonds that we made, we took that to heart, and we're going to continue to work towards that. So I encourage the entire community, the entire shrine, to again, let's get together and do the work that we need to stay together. For all of the shrine classes and the initiates past, present, as well as future, the energy is here, and the shrine of Ma'at is strong and galvanized and stable. Ashe.
Ashe and dua to you all. You are amazing. It's amazing to see you.
Yeah, we back in.
Yes,
Okay,
go back inside.
We gotta get back in.
Somebody gonna be eating your food is what's gonna happen.
I know,
Y'all
right?
was coming back.
Well, we will go ahead and log off.
Yes.
Shemima to you. We'll still be listening in, but we'll go ahead and log off.
Shemin Ma'at, dwa, dwa, dwa. Enjoy your food and enjoy your time together. Dwa,
We will.
dwa to you all.
We will.
All right, Shemin Ma'at. That is just beautiful. I don't know how to say how I am touched by seeing them all together, and really taking the initiative to try to gather each year so they can see each other, traveling from all over the country. It is just wonderful, wonderful to see that. We're weathering a storm and we're coming out strong on the other side, and it is going to be those people who are the initiates who are going to ensure that the Shrine of Ma'at continues to grow and to do the work. And I have to say, I am so honored that they are there. I'm seeing a bunch of questions. What you just saw is a group of initiates of the Shrine of Ma'at. They get together every year. They are the Shrine of Ma'at. Members of the Shrine of Ma'at, and so they gather every year. This year they gathered last year it was in Chicago. This year it is actually in St. Louis. They just get together and say, we are going to try to ensure that we support each other and spend time with each other. And by the way, I know that that's Shemsu Heru, but they welcome anyone from their individual Herbaku groups to join them as well. It's just so powerful to see them. It really is powerful to see them. Ankan Ma'at to the rest of you who have come in. Ankan Ma'at to Nazarene Essene TV. Peace, peace, peace to you. Ankan Ma'at to Benita Sutton. Yes, it was amazing. Yes, and they're doing what they're doing. They're doing some beautiful stuff in St. Louis. Ankan Ma'at to Kepra Holistics, checking in from South Africa. Mahosi to you. Ankan Ma'at, wonderful. You are the furthest away today. Ankan Ma'at. Ankan Ma'at to Nesu West. Ankan Ma'at to Jahim Ray. Ankan Ma'at to you from Shemsu Ma'at. Ankan Ma'at. Many of our full members are here. Ankan Ma'at to Robert Bunag, who we know is coming from Daly City. with his girlfriend in Los Altos. Ankh and Ma'at to you. He's here every Kemetic Ascension. Ankh and Ma'at to all of you. I'm so taken by seeing their amazing gathering. I wish I could have been there. And it's just myrrh, just lots of myrrh in that entire city as they gather and support each other. Wow, that was amazing. Ankh and Ma'at. Well, let's go ahead and do what we do. We've done the opening of the way in the most powerful fashion that we can. We did the opening of the way with our members in St. Louis, and that was so amazing. As they gather there, you notice that all of their names are all from all over the place, and they got together so that they can spend time with each other. So they've done the opening of the way in the most powerful fashion that I think one can do the opening of the way. That is amazing. And as you know, usually at this portion of our gathering, we would do the opening of, we would do Hesi being that manner in which our Kemetic ancestors actually recognize the divinity all throughout their universe and their presence through harmony, through song, through chanting, through affirmation. Hesi in many ways is, you should think of Hesi as gospel before the word gospel ever existed. This is the manner in which Kemetic spiritual practitioners were able to actually sing and use wonderful instruments and gather together. And I'm going to say to you, even as you read some of the Kemetic text, you'll often read something and say, this sounds almost like it's meant to be said several times, that it's not just said one time. Understand that what you are seeing often is an ancient refrain. Now, you know that if Black folk in the United States celebrate their spiritual tradition in some of the most amazing harmony that's different than what you hear from other Christian communities. Why do you think they did that? They did that because people of African descent have been worshiping in that manner for long before the written word. Long before there were all of the European powers and the Asian powers. That the African celebrated divinity through song. In fact, there are even some incredible practitioners that we're aware of that were known for their ability to bring harmony to gatherings. I know that there's the body, and I believe that Senaton probably knows so much about this, being a shrine member who is really focused on in history and also in the Windy City at Chicago. I believe that the body, the Neb Ankh of Marasamun is in Chicago. She was one of the best known singers. And so you should understand that we have done it forever. Shane the Watcher 616 says, like on Sinners. Listen, if y'all didn't see that movie yet, shame on you. You better go see it. My understanding is that you can purchase it now. No, you know what? I believe it comes out on HBO next Friday. You must see it. You must see it. And yes, in Sinners, we see the evocation of the ancestral spirit through song. And the story, one of the stories, I'm not going to be spoiling anything for those of you who haven't seen it. But one of the things that you recognize they are describing in the film is the fact that we have used sacred song forever. And if you find a practitioner that is extremely adept at traversing the spiritual ancestral energies through song, that in the movie, they are able to communicate with the ancestors going back into the ancients. And so that is it is probably one of the most amazing scenes that I have ever witnessed in a movie. And I'm a moviegoer. I've been a moviegoer since I was a child. My father was really into movies. We watched movies together. So I want for you to know that aspect of it is precisely described in Sinners. Yes, Shane, I'm glad that you actually expressed that, because it's a really good way to say it. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So you know that that ability for us to be able to bring the tradition through song is powerful. That is the way that we do it. And so today what I want to do is simply do an oldie but goodie. You have heard this before. It is the Kum Rai Hesi that comes to us into the Shrine of Ma'at from our origin shrine, the Shrine of Ptah. And you should know that it is a Hesi that was written by Baba Heru. And in fact, it was also performed several times by Queen Afua. I promise that soon I will play the audio of that. I don't have it with me today. I'm not in my study. I'm not in Harlem today, so I don't have it. But listen to how this beautiful Hesi goes and see if you can replicate it. Before I do it, I want you to know that the translation, and there's some poetic license to the way that it's translated, right? But the translation is, the mystery of the hidden sun is revealed to my face. The mystery of the hidden sun is revealed to my face. Here is the Kum Rai Hesi. Kum Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra. I love that Hesi. I love that Hesi. And I'm going to say to you, I always found it interesting that Anika and I would go to Baba and we'd be talking and he'd just break into the Kum Rai Hesi and he'd say, "Come on, join me." And I now, you would have to understand, this was in the mid to late 90s. The internet did not exist as robustly as it does today. There was no recording of him that I was aware of at the time. Actually, there was an old recording that I have now, but there was no recording of it. And he had assumed that we had learned it in our initiatory class. We had not. So I would just be like, I did not know the words. I did not know the melody. Well, I knew the melody, but I didn't know what he was saying. It took many, many decades, really, for me to get it out of him. And it is part of my repertoire. When I am feeling it, when I'm walking down the street, when I'm struggling to prepare a class, perhaps for my students, when I'm up and doing those late nights doing research, I just go into the Kum Rai Hesi more than more others. The Kum Rai Hesi. Please, you have the ability to look at what I just did, to listen to what I just did, to stop, to pause, to rewind, to start again. I didn't have that ability. Learn the Kum Rai Hesi. It is one of the oldest Hesis of Kemetic spiritual practitioners here in the West. And so you, as a powerful practitioner of the Kemetic tradition, should know it as well. So please go ahead and use Hesi regularly in your practice. It is one of those tools that should be in your spiritual toolbox, because I'm going to tell you, when you are in it, Hesi will be your guide. When you're simply just doing the mundane things that you do in a day, washing the dishes, showering, the stuff you do regularly, just go ahead and get into Hesi. Get into Hesi. Get into Hesi. And certainly I would argue that the Kum Rai Hesi is the way that you should, is one of the ones that should be in your go-to. Usually we spell Kum Rai like this, Kum Rai. So you can see it. It's the Kum Rai Hesi, right? Khum. And it's Kum Rai, Kum Rai, Kum Heru Ra. Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra. Kum Ra 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 Ra. Kum Heru Ra. Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra. That's how it goes. Okay? All right. So let's go into the word for the Sebayit for today. And I say this every single time. I am in between places these days, as you probably have realized and noticed. I'm in Harlem some days. I'm in New Jersey other days. I'm in Queens with my mother, in my the home of my family, the home I grew up in. Some days I'm creating a small studio down here in this area here. So you'll see all of that soon as I begin to do more. Kum means to me in Hosa. What does Kum mean? Sorry, nobody. What does it mean to you? I would love to know. And sorry, nobody is one of the Hosa speakers. I know I am massacring how that language is spoken. It is one of the oldest human languages on the planet. I'm honored that you are here. I would love for you to come in one day and to speak to us in Hosa. I know that there's a phrase in Hosa that's supposed to be one of the hardest ones to say because it has I believe there are 5 click sounds, and all 5 click sounds are in that one. It's something like oh goodness, what is it? Is it the porcupine trips in the grass and breaks his windpipe or something like that? In English, obviously, it sounds like a nonsense phrase. The reason why the phrase has been put together is because it uses all of the click sounds. Those click languages from Africa, from Southern and Central Africa, are some of the oldest languages that humans have continuously spoken. Long before there was a Latin, long before there was French and Spanish, and certainly English is a much newer language, long before any of those European languages, those Asian languages, there was the click languages of Africa. And so we should recognize that we, dear Africans, are the roots of human lineage, the roots of human society. It is of critical importance for us to recognize our positioning within the within human development. So let's talk a bit about our topic today. Let's talk a bit about our topic today. It is, should African Americans celebrate the 4th of July? That's what this is. And of course, I'm bringing this to you particularly because we are on the cusp of the 4th of July holiday. And we know that in so many of the places that Black folks call home, the 4th of July holiday is going to be big. It always has been. It celebrates the origin of the United States, but it has been so manipulated and it has lost all of its historic tethering. We need to talk about what 4th of July actually is. Look at the folks in the chat. They're saying Kemet 291223 says, nor Christmas, nor 4th of July, nor Thanksgiving is for us. Very clearly, right? By the way, sorry, nobody I see. I understand now. You're saying Kum means to me. Ooh. So I'm saying Kum Rai, I'm saying to me, that divine energy. Wow. Oh, you don't even know. You don't even know what you've done to my meditations over the next 24 to 48 hours. I would love for you to come on and speak the Hulsa language so that we could hear it as well. Ron Green says, no, boycott July 4th. And so we should definitely talk about this. On the screen, you are seeing one of the most erudite thinkers in the history of the United States. You are seeing, well, who are you seeing there? Now, that picture has been colorized, but that is, in fact, a picture of him. Who is that on the left side of our screen there? Who is that? Talk to me. Let me know if you know where I'm going here. Clearly, you can see that the other parts of this is represent those people who have been in protest. Look at them spray painting the black fist on top of the stars and stripes, the flag of the United States. A powerful commentary. And we can actually see, yes, this is the last Kemetic Ascension before the full members meeting. I'll mention it. Dwa Sen William for reminding me, because I would obviously possibly forget before going off. But we do have a full meeting, not tomorrow, but the Monday after. Let me say that we see that Sinette Cheryl says, Frederick Douglass said it best. What is the slave? What the slave is, the 4th of July. Yes, it's what is the 4th of July to the slave? Yes, we are still struggling for justice and equality. Yes, yes, yes. And Michael Guest says the 4th of July. I know back in the 80s and 90s, that's what we used to say. Michael Guest, you might be dating yourself like I'm dating myself, because I remember we used to say that all the time. Sinette Sheila, Frederick Douglass. Yes. Is that Sinette Sheila, our full member? I'm wondering if that's you. Ankin Ma'at Haru Asar, Ankh Amun Ra, that all of you are recognizing Frederick Douglass. Yes, that is Frederick Douglass, one of the most erudite thinkers in the history of the United States. And he certainly was one that thought deeply about the 4th of July. So here's the question. Should Black people celebrate the 4th of July? That's the question. Of course, we know the 4th of July is the date that the Continental Congress actually issued the description of this new nation to be known as the United States of America into existence. We know that this is when they came forward with the Declaration of Independence. We know very well that that is what is being commemorated. But let's be clear, as we look at that image that is meant to actually represent those powerful landed white men who were writing the Declaration, who were creating this country, that at the same time, many of them were enslaving Africans. Many of them were raping African women. Many of them actually were benefiting from the kidnapping and the torture and forced free labor of people of African descent. And all of them benefited from the system they were really creating deep roots for, that system that we can only call the system of white supremacy. So let's be very clear. That is what we are seeing when we look at that image. That is what we are seeing. But we also know that African Americans, people of African descent in the United States, have toiled, have built this nation against our will, yes, but built this nation. And I know that there are many of us that are saying, well, if this is my country, shouldn't I also be able to partake in the celebrations that represent this nation? And I want to say to you that while I have been clear about the fact that I am a person of African descent, that I am an African in the United States, I'm not going to leave the United States permanently at this point. I actually believe that we have given too much to this nation for us to abandon it. I will hopefully be on the continent regularly, spending lots of time on the continent. I'm a chief in Ghana, as you know. But I'm going to say to you, with all of that, I'm not planning on leaving this place that was hewn with the blood, sweat, and tears of my ancestors. And I have ancestors from throughout the diaspora, ancestors from Jamaica, ancestors, my mother is from Guyana. But I also have ancestors that were enslaved here in the United States, as a person who is in many ways a mixture of diasporan African communities. All of that are in me, and all of that is probably in so many of you. We need to recognize that this question is one that is challenging. Well, let's listen to the words of Frederick Douglass. He says, now I'm going to tell you that, first of all, he was actually invited to upstate New York for a 4th of July celebration. And I can only imagine what that celebration must have looked like. Here were these people of European descent, undoubtedly white liberals, who were sitting there and expecting to hear from this very, very prominent Negro intellectual, and perhaps to celebrate the day with him. And boy, he did not allow them to be comfortable in their whiteness. He did not just celebrate with them just because he thought he was being polite. Instead, he tells them very clearly, what is this to me? My perspective, my positioning within this country is what is important to me. And I know you want to celebrate the 4th of July, but you're talking to someone who was enslaved. You're talking to someone whose family was enslaved. You're talking to someone who is not a full citizen of this nation. So this is what he says on his speech on July 5th, 1852. Let's be clear. We're talking about a time that is 7 years before the end of the Civil War, almost 7 years before the end of the Civil War. And the Civil War ends in April of 1865. So this is July of 1852. So, yeah, I'm sorry, not 7 years. We're talking about actually, he gives this speech 13 years before the end of the Civil War. So listen to what he says. He says, I say it with a sad sense of the disparity between us. I am not included within the pale of this glorious anniversary. Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice. I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony. I'm just amazed at his braveness, at his intestinal fortitude, at his ability to come before this smiling white crowd and to tell the truth. There's so many folks in our community and communities all around this nation or around this world that are uncomfortable with the truth. And when pressure is on them, they simply say what is convenient, what is morally expedient. But Frederick Douglass actually said to them, in some ways he said, why did you bring me to talk about this? Some of the things that you might have noticed, he says that the sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. Look at the way that he is using this idea of the stars and stripes to represent the stripes, the scars, the welts that enslaved Africans had. That's what he's doing here. He's saying that those stripes for me are the lashes with the enslaver's whip. And he even says to drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony. The fetters, if you're not familiar with that term, he's talking about chains. Fetters are the chains that one enslaved person might have. And I think that that sentence in and of itself is so powerful that we might need to use it, not just remember it in 1852, but use it in 2025, because there is a movement, a white supremacist movement afoot in this nation. It has done more in the last 6 months than it had done in the last 60 years. It is trying to erase the history of people of African descent. As long as you agree with their white supremacist system, they're absolutely happy to allow you to smile with them. But when you want to acknowledge what this country has done to Black people, and by extension, what is still happening to people of African descent in the United States, now this is problematic for them. And so it is so powerful for him to actually say, you have these joyous anthems, I'm not going to be smiling with you. You rejoice, I mourn. That the world looks different for me and African. By the way, we won't be on much longer, but I want to invite those of you who are on Instagram to join us on Facebook or on YouTube. Just search for the Shrine of Ma'at. The Instagram feed from StreamYard only lasts 1 hour. So if you are going to be cut off, please make sure that you join us on one of the other platforms as we conclude. So just think about how powerful this is. We're talking about Frederick Douglass, a man who had escaped enslavement himself, a man who risked his life talking about the challenges of enslavement all around this nation. It's so powerful that he would go into this polite, genteel white audience and speak truth to power. As a formerly enslaved man, did they not know who they were bringing? Did they not recognize that that is what was happening? Well, he was very clear about this. And today, what they'd like for you to believe, this group of the descendants in some ways of those same, they're at least the white supremacist descendants. So many of them came to the United States later, which is a real sad irony, because they would like to remove people who supposedly have not or are not here legally. Just think about the fact that they are kicking out brown immigrants when their families are immigrants too. Not one of those Europeans who are doing what they are doing right now actually were here when these original founding fathers committed the original crime of inhumanity. They came from other places, but now they have lived into the white supremacist culture of the United States, and they believe that we should all celebrate the United States and its history while erasing and literally whitewashing, an appropriate term, and literally whitewashing the history of how this nation was created and how these inequities still exist for people of African descent. How dare they? But this is what we know they have done. So I want you to take a look at this powerful speech. It is really, really amazing. And I want you just to think about the intellectual power of this man who was like a sun amongst us. I mean, I say sun, S-U-N, because of how powerful his thinking is. He is an amazing person, and his analysis of the 4th of July should stay with us this coming week as we see folks out there eating hot dogs and hamburgers and waving the flag and setting off fireworks. It is certainly one of those things that we need to be aware of. And one of the other things I want you to recognize is as they, yes, and Sinette Cheryl says, didn't get free. I think they were Virginia and Maryland, but somehow else here may know better. Okay, I'm not sure if exactly which states. Oh, were you answering that other question? I wasn't looking at that. I didn't at first. Now I understand the time. Another 2 years in some states. I think you all are talking about the. I think you all are talking about the situation that occurred in Galveston, Texas, in June 19th of 1865, when the Union Army finally made it that far into the Deep South to tell enslaved Africans that they had not technically been enslaved, or at least not been held as enslaved people by order of the United States since January 1st of 1863. So it was over 2 years that they were still held in bondage, not being aware of the fact that Abraham Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. The Union Army did not get to Galveston, Texas until June 19th of 1865. That is where the celebration of Juneteenth comes from. And I want us to also recognize that These European nations who had relationships with some Native American tribes, the ones that were called the five civilized tribes, in order for them to have a relationship with the United States, they had to enslave as well. That was one of the stipulations, because the United States white supremacist system wanted to be sure that they would not stand as a place for freedom for people of African descent. Of course, there were Native American communities that did, but in order for them to have relationships, direct official relations with the United States government, they had to enslave Africans. Why am I mentioning them? Because they didn't free enslaved Africans until 1866. Most of us have forgotten that. We're just becoming aware of the of Juneteenth and what happened in Galveston, Texas. But there were still enslaved Africans on Native American plantations that didn't see their freedom until the next year. And that didn't happen until they signed a treaty. Were we? I don't think many of us are aware of what happened. Well, let's continue. Take a look at this. You're seeing an image of Francis Scott Key. He is the author of one of the most revered anthems in the United States. Obviously, you know it is called the Star-Spangled Banner. I learned some of it, I'm saying some very intentionally, as a child in school. What do we need to know about it? Take a look at this quote from a Washington Post article from October 18th, 2020. And the article is called "The Ugly Reason the Star-Spangled Banner Didn't Become Our National Anthem for a Century." It says, "It's important to know these things because the Star-Spangled Banner, originally called the Defense of Fort McHenry, has more than one verse. The second half of the third verse ends like this: no refuge could save the hireling and the slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave." These lyrics are a clear reference to the colonial Marines, according to Jefferson Morley, author of Snowstorm in August, Washington City, Francis Scott Key, and the Forgotten Race Riot of 1835. They are clearly meant to scorn and threaten the African Americans who took the British up on their offer. He wrote in a recent essay for the Washington Post, "Key surely knew about the colonial Marines, and it's even possible he saw them among the contingent of British ships that sailed into Baltimore Harbor." So you should understand that Francis Scott Key was a prisoner when he saw the flag of the United States and the bombs going off. And that's what he was referring to. But clearly he also said that the hireling and the slave could not be saved from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. In other words, they would have to either run or be killed. Let's be very clear that he's talking about you. And we're supposed to have reverence for the Star-Spangled Banner. That's what we're supposed to do. And they're being completely disingenuous because they're not acknowledging that one of the verses that they no longer say in public, why? Because they recognize the hypocrisy of it, actually speaks to the fact that enslaved Africans were leaving to go with the British. Why were enslaved Africans leaving to go with the British? Well, I want you to know that the reason why Africans were doing that is because they were going to benefit from what was called Lord Dunmore's Proclamation. And Lord Dunmore's Proclamation, by the way, I see you asking for the Ma'at Shrine is the Cash App for the shrine. Lord Dunmore's Proclamation was issued by a man named John Murray, known as the Lord of Dunmore. Why? Because he essentially was the head of the Dunmore estate, but he was the governor of Virginia. And when he recognized that these wealthy European descended planters, the colonists, were going to try to go to war with the British crown so that they could create their own nation, he did something strategically so that he would be able to, they would be able to defeat the colonists and in what would become the American Revolutionary War. He told enslaved people that if they fought with the British, they would be freed. How many of us know the story that is generally called the story of the Black loyalist today? I'm writing a dissertation on the matter as we speak. And I want you to know, I don't have that book here. I want you to know that this was a very important part of this reality, of this circumstance. And in fact, it is probably one of the reasons that the 13 colonies coalesced to fight the British, because they said, look at what they're doing to our slaves. They're going to free them and destroy our agricultural economy. Well, some of you may have heard of the TV series some time ago called The Book of Negroes. Well, the Book of Negroes was the listing of the large number of Africans who went to fight with the British, not with the colonists, not with the quote unquote founding fathers. And many of them, over 3,000 of them, left with the British from New York when the British lost. They received their freedom. The overwhelming majority of them received their freedom. Yes, Solomonic TV, that's what I'm referring to. The movie called The Book of Negroes. I think it was a series, but understand that that is what the Book of Negroes refers to. It was the list of those people that the British were going to take with them. And it wasn't a few of us. I believe Thomas Jefferson, I think it was Thomas Jefferson that argued that it may be as many as 30,000. We're talking about large numbers of people of African descent who said, we're not going with you to this new nation as an enslaved person. We're going to be free. And that is what Francis Scott Key is remembering, that there were Africans who were not loyal to the United States. Why would they be? They were enslaved. And they weren't loyal to the British either. They were working simply for their freedom and for the freedom of their families. This, to me, is a story that most of us don't know and should. So we look at now an aged Frederick Douglass. And I also want you to know, and this is probably particularly connected to this gathering, as we are practitioners of Kemetic spirituality, you should know that Frederick Douglass was very interested in the Africanity of ancient Kemet. And in fact, he travels to modern day Egypt to prove it. Listen to what he says in his commencement address to Western Reserve College on July 12th, 1854. This is 2 years after his what is the 4th of July to the slave speech. He says, the fact that Egypt was one of the earliest abodes of learning and civilization is as firmly established as are the everlasting hills. Greece and Rome, and through them Europe and America, have received their civilization from the ancient Egyptians. This fact is not denied by anybody, but Egypt is in Africa. Pity that it has not been in Europe or an Asia, or better still, in America. Another unhappy circumstance is that and the ancient Egyptians were not white people, but were undoubtedly just about as dark in complexion as many in this country who are considered genuine Negroes. He is saying ancient Kemet was black, and that ancient Kemet gave the West, Europe, its civilization. Did you know that Frederick Douglass was on that topic as well? He is an absolutely interesting character to me. So family, this 4th of July, I want you to think about what is going to happen in many of our communities. I want you to think about what the role of the African has been in the United States, how the African has been abused and has succeeded and thrived, not because of our proximity to the United States, but in spite of it. We are the soil that the United States has grown in. So yes, this is our nation, but that does not mean that we need to celebrate it in the same manner that everyone else is. I have a good friend that told her, she's biracial, so she told her family just recently, a member of her family, we're now celebrating Juneteenth. Sorry, we're not celebrating that anymore. And boy, are they angry. But I'm going to tell you, family, it is of critical importance for us to remember the commitment and the pains of our African ancestors who were enslaved here in the United States. Perhaps instead of eating hamburgers and hot dogs, we should be lighting a candle and getting up in our altars on 4th of July, remembering our African ancestors. With that, I say the divine force in me greets the divine force in you. I want to remind you before we close that for full members of the Shrine, we will be having a meeting on Monday the 7th. Monday the 7th. Every first Monday of the month, we have our Shrine meeting. Instead of starting at 6, it will need to start at 6:30 because I will still be in class at 6 o'clock. But please, I want you to think about what we've talked about today. For those of you who are full members, I hope to see you at our Shrine meeting. We'll use the same link that we use for all of them, but I will put it up as well so that you're aware. And please do the work that you must do. Speak to the ancestors, feed the ancestors, live with the ancestors so that they will still be available to you. With that, I say, Amasu and Pater, Sauksumit Ra and Pater, Autu Aurama Keti Pahirura. Give yourself to the one most high. Keep yourself daily for the divine, and do this tomorrow just as you did it today. Twa winter. Let me say to you, Shemin Ma'at, go forth in divine balance and enjoy the rest of your beautiful Sunday. I'll see you soon. Shemin Ma'at.